We are a local painting company shooting for between $3.5 and $4 million this year. We did 2.1 last year. The year before that, we did 1.1.
Do you think volume of the painting business has to do something with the prices they give you?
With a $3.5 million company, you can have two salespeople. So if one salesperson goes on vacation, you can have the other one step in. Two project managers, if one goes on vacation, the other one can step in. There's a lot less of me stepping in to do stuff.
Freedom.
Personally
speaking, I'd rather serve less people and make more profit than serve a high volume of people, but like your profit is so low.
I coach people for money in my own area. I don't care if they're my direct competitors. I'll help them out.
If you had to restart your current journey and do something different, what would that be? What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Forward Thinking Podcast. Lucas Jensen here, and I got a guest speaker today, Spencer Heyward, president of Swift Hand Painting. Spencer is out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Believe it or not, people actually live there. And more so, people are building a massive empire in the painting industry with. So, Spencer, give yourself a little introduction, talk about the revenue, the team size, things like that, and then we'll jump into the nitty gritty.
Of course. My name is Spencer Heyward. We are here in Salt Lake City, Utah. We cover about 3/4 of the population of Utah, so there's not a ton of people here, but we cover almost all of them. We are a local painting company shooting for between $3.5 and $4 million this year. We did 2.1 last year. The year before that, we did 1.1, 550, and then 250. So our goal has been to pretty much double every year, and we're kind of taking it a little easy this year, and we're trying not to double. And we're trying to focus on getting more and more overall net profit. So yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I think that's important, man, because like revenue, it's like, would you rather be a $10 million company doing 1 million in profit or a $3 million company doing 1 million in profit, right? So it's like, if you can nail the profit, the top line doesn't really matter besides ego, unless you want that type of business, right? But personally speaking, I'd rather serve less people and make more profit than serve a high volume of people, but like your profit is so low. So what made you want to make that shift? Was it profit first?
No, it wasn't profit first, although I've heard good things about that book. But in fact, I had my business partner read that. Our biggest thing was last year, we were all about growing the company. Our plan was to make less profit and focus the majority of our profit on growing the company. Because, when you have $1 million company and you're trying to have a net profit of 15%, that's only $150,000. And I know it sounds like a lot, but I like having more than $150,000 in net profit, and I want a bigger salary, and I like fancy things. And so once you get to, our goal, once we hit 2.1, we're like, okay, this is a good thing. It's $300,000 in net profit. Let's shoot for a little bit less growth, a little bit more profit along the way. Cause at a $3.5 million company, you can profit a good chunk of change, and you can only even, it also gets to the point where you don't have to do sales. Mm-hmm. So like you get to the point where you're doing mostly the leadership portion, and that's where I like to be at. So there's the intentionality there with a $3.5 million company. You can have two salespeople. So if one salesperson goes on vacation, you can have the other one step in. Two project managers. If one goes on vacation, the other one can step in. There's a lot less of me stepping in to do stuff,
Freedom.
Love that stuff, so I can go and waste time and hang out with Lucas, and
that's what it's all about, man. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you see I'm repping the purple here. Swift Hand Painting. This is actually a really good shirt to wear and clean your car with. So thanks for the shirt, Spence.
It's a multi-purpose, and we did that intentionally to be universal,
Dude, I think that's the way to do it, man. Yeah, Swiss Army knife.
I really sprang for that, giving you that $3.50 shirt. I took all the shirts to a local shop, and I got them. They charged me $1 per shirt to put our logo on each one.
Insane.
Our logo was on each, so that cost me $400 for 4 shirts. Lasts us the whole year. Cost us nothing. Cost us $400.
Yeah. And for all our Canadian listeners, that's $1 US. So that's like $85 Canadian now. So
yeah, well, I mean, with the tariffs, it'll probably be closer to 100. But I mean, Yeah. I mean, those will fluctuate.
Yeah. Have you, man, I'm actually curious because I wonder, have your prices for paint been affected yet with tariffs and things like that? Or are you dealing more with like local suppliers?
So our prices have increased they increased in January again. Sherwin went ahead and held all of our top end prices, so we didn't get the price increase on Emerald or Emerald urethane. Any Emerald product, we got no price increase. So it only really affected our lower end products, and our Emerald price is pretty decent. But yeah, I mean, we haven't seen any other price increases since then. I'm sure we'll see it again soon, and they'll probably. I mean, you typically see 1 to 2 price increases per year from Sherwin, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's normal, right? Any reputable business is going to go through increases in prices, but
Yeah.
are you comfortable sharing the numbers that you're currently paying?
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully the Sherwin rep doesn't get mad at me.
And you're,
Making the
I just saw when you moved your head, I just saw the Ford Media Millionaire Club award. So,
Oh yeah.
Spencer, so anyone that you see with that award means they're obviously partnered with Ford Media, and they added their very first $1 million to their business, or added an extra $1 million plus from Ford Media marketing leads for their business while partnered up. So Spencer was one of our first edition winners at PaintCon, where he came up on stage, him and his partner Daniel Black, and we presented him with the award, and he's got it.
It's fancy. I need to hang. I got it on there. I need to hang it up, but I just haven't because I'm lazy.
So we're doing 1M, 5M, and 10M, and at 10M I'm gonna do like a WWE belt. You know what I mean?
Oh, 10 million. Oh man, I'll get there. Has anyone reached 10 million yet?
Not directly from Ford Media Lead, but we do work with companies over 10. Yeah.
And did they hit 10 when they started working with you? Is it going to be the same rules?
They got to hit 10 while working with us. So we've had companies that, no, they haven't gone from like 9 to 10, for example, but we've had companies that went from like 11 to like 13 and stuff like that, but not directly.
Doesn't count.
No, technicalities.
Technicality right there. That's how awards are made. So our Emerald price for interior, we're at $47.74. Pretty good. Like I said, it can always be better, you know. And then our exterior Emerald, let's see. These are the ones that didn't get the price increase, which is why it's, always nicer. Then let's see. A gallon of exterior Emerald is $52.51. So
$52.51.
$52.51.
Were those prices always like that, or how did you negotiate those prices? Like, what was that like for you?
So the way that Sherwin-Williams works, from what I've been told, is they get most of their bonuses based on the premium products, Duration, Emerald, Duration, Emerald, a couple other higher end products. Most of the bonuses for the store managers and for the sales people are based on bonuses. Mm-hmm. And so when you go ahead and you offer them, hey, we want to switch a lot of our jobs, or hey, we're offering these 3 packages and we want to push this package more, but it's too high, then they'll go ahead and they'll say, well, let me see what I can do. And this is pretty much after a little while of negotiating, basically saying, hey, like, I need my prices this low. I need it, I need it lower. I need it lower. What can you do? I would keep asking for it lower until they told me to stop. And then I would wait a little while and ask them to stop. A lot of it's just asking. I know a lot of people that have literally never asked to have someone lower their prices. Now, I don't like when people ask me to lower my price, but we do it sometimes. That's just part of being a salesperson. But I almost always ask if we can lower my, I'm a bargain hunter. So I always try to find the right person. I mean, if you remember, yeah, I know, right?
Who would have thought?
I mean, if you remember our first meeting when you were still doing the sales for your company and I was still doing the sales for mine, one of the first things I asked is like, what can you do here?
Yeah.
We figured out something that was a little bit better than the average price, and obviously, that includes me being on your podcast, and, it's been a good friendship since, but, I'm always looking for deals, and I'm okay with going and being uncomfortable and asking for those discounts. And some painters just don't like to deal with that. And that's costing them, potentially $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year. But it's affecting how much gross profit they're bringing home as well, which is directly affects to what your bottom dollar is.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that sometimes people don't do it because they are uncomfortable conversations, or they have an amazing relationship with their rep or whatnot. But the money is in, you can either charge more for your job and your client covers that profit for you, or you can reduce your materials, right?
Yeah.
Or labor, I guess, make you guys more efficient. But essentially, labor and materials is the most expensive aspect of your business, right? So if you can reduce those or increase the top line or all of them, you'll ultimately make more money. And I would say just one action item is just like, look at your current prices. Everyone here heard Spencer's. If you're not in that range or by that range, go to your rep and start negotiating and start pushing for those ranges. They don't care about your volume. They don't care about where you are. It's just like, those are the bottom line prices that you can get, and you can push for those.
Yeah. Well, and so I'll have to say two things here real quick. First, we love Sherwin-Williams. We've spent over $500,000 with them in the past 2 years. We're giving them money. We like working with them. They're the belle of the ball. We want to work with them. We enjoy working with them. They have 40 plus stores in Utah. We've went and visited all of them. We filled their fridges up. We like working with them. We like having our posters in their shop. We like them. And I'm not saying that we don't work with them, we don't like them, but you got to keep in mind that they're still business, and their number one goal is to make money as well, just like us. The second thing I do want to say is, at the end of the day, everybody is going to be pulling from the same labor market. So you might be able to get your labor a little bit more efficient, and you might be able to get your, our material cost is between 13 and 15% on average, right? Now, some people are closer to 20, 25, but that material, at the end of the day, we're all buying from the same 3 companies: Behr, Sherwin, Benmore. So that price within reason is kind of set. We're all taken from the same labor pool. Same people are applying for painting positions. But then the one thing that we can truly control is what we sell our jobs for. And that's the most, like, if you had 3 different buttons that we could, 3 little levers that we could go ahead and twist and turn up and down, you might be able to get 2 or 3% on materials. You might be able to get your material down 5% or your labor down 5%. But the most important thing is just being able to sell higher and more.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. If you increase your top line, for sure. But I think everyone that's listening can 100% increase their prices. I had a conversation with, I think it was with Russell Peach, about like, go out there and just literally increase your prices.
Yeah.
It was on our coaching call with Jason Phillips. He was showing the breakdown of, like, if all you did right now is just everything else stayed the same and all you did was just increase by 10%.
Yeah.
Increase your price by 10%. Like, this is how it would affect your profit rate. And, there's always so many things that you can do, right? Like you said, find labor, make it more efficient, negotiate with vendors to get your prices or your materials down. But ultimately, the number one thing you control is what you're charging, what you're selling, the value you're bringing to your clients.
Well, and the crazy thing is, most painters, I shouldn't say most painters, a lot of painters, they are not charging to get 45% gross profit, 50% gross profit, 60. I know very, very few painters that are shooting for 60% gross profit like we are. Like, it doesn't happen. They say, oh, it's the lead quality, we can't sell for that high, or or maybe you need to hire a professional sales coach or something. If you can't sell, at a higher gross profit than, 50% GP.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you think that, like, just to kind of break some limiting mindsets, and like you said, Sherwin, we love you, but it's business at the end of the day, and we got to give as much value to the listeners as possible.
Yeah.
Do you think volume of the painting business has to do something with the prices they give you?
A little bit, but that's what they're always going to say, like, oh, let's get your volume up to here before we can do that. I mean, but I know painters that do 1/3 the volume that I have that have better pricing than me. And that has to do with, 1, what pricing they have in their system, 2, the area. But at the end of the day, like, I know people with 1/3 the volume, and they have better pricing than me. It is what it is, and I'm working on that, but maybe my guys, maybe Sherwin gives me a lot more materials for marketing material, maybe 20 grand in marketing material, 5 grand, a quarter in marketing material is worth it for me for this quarter. There's other things to consider as well, but there's a role in it, but I don't think it's like, hey, if they say no, then we just need to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And no is where the sales begins, right? So
Yeah.
there's always room for negotiations, like always, always, always with any single vendor, right? And even grabbing a line of credit, like what you want to do is just, I'm sure so many people do this, but just in case there's someone listening, like open up a line of credit with Sherwin. So you're paying them, net 30, and that prevents you from paying for materials right after you sell a job, helps keep cash in the business. Cash flow is king, right? So open up a line of credit with them, use that line of credit with them, even put that on a credit card, then you get another net 30. Like there's so many things you could do out there, but ultimately you just got to negotiate. You just got to have those hard conversations and recognize that like there's always room for improvement, and you just got to have those hard conversations.
Well, Will Reyes with Battleborn Painting, he's a good mentor of mine and just a great person. But I mean, and he taught me, last year, basically, hey, you should be meeting with every single rep, every single paint company, every single year. So every November, I sit down with the PPG rep, I sit down with the Sherwin rep, I sit down with Benjamin Moore, and I sit down with Bear. I have 4 different meetings. These are preliminary meetings on who we're going to use for the following year. And then I go ahead, I get all their pricing, and I work with what they have given me to see and what they're offering to see who we're going to use. And at the end of the day, maybe we want to work with Sherwin, but maybe PPG is offering $50,000 of marketing material. It's a pretty tempting offer. Maybe Sherwin decides that they want to increase their prices 10% and PPG says, I want to give 10% off. Maybe Sherwin is a better thing to sell to clients and it's worth you spending a little more on it. Maybe your people in your area love Benjamin Moore and everyone would be crazy to do anything else. Mm-hmm. Maybe people don't care as much about the paint as you think. We're painters love to think that people care about the product that they put on their walls, but I have latitude on 2 of my homes and it looks exactly the same as emerald. I just don't see a difference. And then I have inside my house, I have emerald designer. And then on another house, I have cashmere, and another house I have Scuff Tough, their new product. I cannot tell the difference between those 3 products. I can't. And so if I'm a painting contractor and I can't really tell the difference once it's been applied and it's had time to cure, how much do you think the people will care? Well, if it's tied to a warranty and it's going to last longer on the exterior, well, let's sell the idea that you're going to actually go in and you're going to have a longer warranty and it'll last longer. The houses that I have painted on the outside, they've only been painted for 2 or 3 years. So right now they look the same. Maybe in 5 years, emerald designer or emerald paint would have lasted way better. What are we selling? Are we selling the product or are we selling the experience?
Yeah. And you mentioned something about like using different packages and different, different paint supplies and stuff for those packages. So walk me through like what kind of packages you have. Do you follow the good, better, best system that Ron Adams uses or?
Yeah, no. So we're a little bit different. Ron prefers to do more of like, hey, this is these specific repairs are not included in this package and they are others. Ours is mostly paint. So we have a basic, better, best option, and the basic is either for interior it's cashmere, for exterior it is latitude, because all of our competitors use super paint, and we want to be different than everyone else, and those are 2 on Sherwin's scale. Those are 1 grade above that. So everyone else is using a 1 grade below us on our basic option. So those include a 2-year warranty, 2-year guarantee, and then it includes emerald urethane on all the trim, and it includes a specific, I think it's 950 caulking, And then we have for the exterior and interior for both the better and best, we do duration for the better and emerald for the best. And for the better, we do a 4-year guarantee, and for the best, we do a 7-year guarantee. And we also do, for interiors, we also do a 7 years of free touch-ups for all interior projects with the best package only.
So the difference between basic, better, best is essentially the type of paint that you use and the warranty that you offer.
That is the two majorities, yes.
And what's like the typical percentage markup for each?
15 and 25%.
So basic to better is 15%.
Mm-hmm.
Better to best is 20% more.
25.
25% more.
Yes.
Interesting. What's been like your split for who chooses basic, better, or best?
A lot of our clients often, that just basically means more material and more in profit at the end of the day, because we, very rarely do we have an actual warranty issue on pretty much anything except for cabinets. Now, with that in mind, we probably get most people choosing, it's probably mostly a split between the best and the basic. So very few people choose the better option because they're either people that are trying to get a good quality job on a budget, or they are people that will always pick the best. When I go to Apple, I always get the best. I got the best iPhone that they have, and now it's 2 years old. It's a 14 Pro, and it has like freaking half a terabyte or a terabyte of storage. It was the best at the time, whenever I go buy something, I don't go and look for the budget item I'm gonna have to rebuy in 3 months. My socks have a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, well, dude, and I think everybody's or maybe looking into this, but I actually saw Spencer buy a like $150 freaking portable charger when we were in Colorado. Now he did use his mom's points for it.
Oh, whatever. I put it on my mom's Target, okay, because I don't have a Target account.
Battery pack? I was like, okay, Spencer, come on.
Whatever. God damn it.
You're like the real life stepbrothers, dude.
Oh, dude, I just want to give my mom. Well, I wasn't using her fucking points. I was giving her the points, okay? I was just giving her the points. I don't have a Target.
Back, just like you did at the start of the call. Here we go. Integrity.
Whatever. I paid for that out of my own pocket, okay? It cost me $150, and I'm okay with that because it's a damn good charger, okay?
Man, that was so good. But I think that's really interesting that not many people go for the better and they go for the best because it's either they're price shopping or they want the top of the line as long as you build the value. And we worked something out too that's very similar to like the movie theaters. Like if you go to a movie theaters, you'll buy a drink and the small is like $4. And then there's a big jump to the medium and then a small jump from medium to the large because they want to push you to like, oh, if I'm, like for example, the small is $4, then medium $6, and then large is $6.50. But the jump from $6 to $6.50 is so minute that you're like, might as well just go large, So it's either people are going to get the small or the large, not so much on the medium. So it's like price your things at like according to that scale, where it's the jump from small to medium's relatively big, but then it's a lot smaller from going medium to large. You'll get more people buying in, which ultimately just increases your bottom line by like 25%.
Well, here's the thing. Well, it wouldn't be
maybe not bottom line, but overall increases the job you sold by 25%.
Well, and you can go one step further than that as well, because the reality is, pick which one do you want them to pick most often, and price according to that. If you want them to pick the reality is duration, but the cost between duration and emerald for us is pretty insignificant. It's like $3-4 per gallon. So we push people towards, if they're doing duration, we might as well push them towards the emerald. And we have that model where our prices between the small and medium are a lot bigger than the medium to large. Mm-hmm. But like, if you want your medium package, to be the best option, but you still want to have the best option, but maybe you want it to be something you don't sell very often, you can price it like that. You could say, hey, my basic option is this price. My better option is only 10% more. And my best option is 35. And you'll get more people getting the better. So you have to figure out what you want your company to be at, and neither option's wrong. You just have to figure out where you want that option to be at.
Yeah. And providing options, again, is a huge component of not just like a one size fits all, like this is exactly what we're going to do, but like there are tiers that we can do it, and building the value along those, and you'll just increase your top line.
Well, it's also psychological, right? Because people say, and they've been saying for 100 years, hey, you should always get 3 estimates. Well, you know what I come with? 3 prices and 3 estimates. You don't need another bid, Mrs. Jones. I got 3 prices for you right here. Tell me who the other painters are. I'll go ahead. I'll call them and cancel them for you. Let's get you on the schedule. You think that's crazy? I've had that happen twice in the past 2 weeks.
Interesting.
I love sales.
Me too, dude.
Talked about sales.
Sales was my favorite. That was the hardest thing for me to step away from, was sales, just because I genuinely love it so much.
Yeah, it's just, I still wish I could go do. I do sales, so I have a list on my closing rate, because I'll go and do virtual bids for my company still, and I'll see. Yeah, like if it's not worth my project coordinator or project consultant's time, like let's say it's a front door or a bedroom, I don't want to send them over to that job. It's just not worth the gas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty good at selling even on the phone. And so I'm comparing my close rate with them compared to what they spend an hour and a half doing. So I think I'm at like 33% close rate by just calling and getting the jobs booked on the phone without ever having met them, without ever having to talk to them before. And so I love sales.
33%. Interesting.
It's pretty good.
What's their close rate in person?
Their close rate, let's take a look. So let's see. This week it's pretty rough. We're at 42%. This month we're at 49. This year we're at 52.
Solid.
If I get rid of mine, because mine lowers it, right? If we get rid of mine and we just have my 2 sales guys, they're at 55% for the year.
So why not give them the virtual bids? Because it's so easy. They don't have to drive, but they're still getting commissions.
Well, 1, I have to pay the commissions.
Yeah.
2, I still like sales. And 3, I have yet to be able to train someone to sell as good as me on the phone. For every salesperson that does virtuals, their closing rate's like 10%. Like I just can't get it to work. Let's see. Let me go in here and see what my close rate is. It's probably pretty terrible. Let's take a look. So yeah, my closing rate right now is 33%. I've won 9 jobs virtually.
Interesting. So you bid 27?
Yeah, I bid 20. Yeah, exactly 27. I have 2 that are still open. Yeah.
What's the average job size on virtual?
They're supposed to be small. So the average job size right now is $1,500.
Yeah,
like they're not.
I mean, 1,500 times 9. That's
13 grand.
13. Yeah.
Yeah.
13.5.
And I got some big ones in the loop as well. I got a couple like $7,000, a $35,000 one, that I'm just waiting on approval, but those will change those numbers dramatically. But at the same time, those aren't worth it. Like, because then you have to take an extra, 7 to 10%, depending on what company you are, to pay that painter. That's less money I can put on labor. And also it's just not worth, it's not worth their time when they could be going. And I'd rather them knock doors.
Yeah.
I'd rather them knock doors. I'd rather them cold call. Their time is spent elsewhere and they can't close as well as I can on the phone yet. And I don't want to train them. It's too much work. And our company wouldn't be affected if I just started saying no to these. So it's a little bit of chump change.
Yeah. A little extra.
A little extra
cherry
there.
on top. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
So, dude, you're going from 250 to 500 to 1.1 to, you said last year you did 2.2?
2.3.
2.3. And then this year you went 3.5 to 4, but focusing on profit.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, dude, if you had to restart your current journey and do something different, what would that be?
Oh, man. Because I mean, the biggest thing at any company is the thing that people always think about is that, some people will say, hey, I should have trained more, I should have practiced more, I should have done more research. The reality is the best thing to do is just to start. I had no painting experience, like 3 months of painting experience when I started my company. And I was working part-time, 2 to 3 days a week max for a painter that only brushed and rolled, and he was a great man. And he was a good person, but he wasn't who nothing can train you for running a business. And so the biggest thing is just to jump in, but I did that. And so what I would say is, if I were to restart and I didn't have the knowledge, the one piece of advice I would say is get connected, get with people that want to, get with people that are bigger than you, get with people who you want to become eventually. The best and the biggest companies here all have coaches.
Mhm.
I have 3 coaches. I have a sales coach for my whole team, for my sales team. And I have, a back end coach, great guy named Scott Lawler. And then I have Jason Phillips, who I don't pay officially every month, but I've given him like $35,000, $40,000 of my money. Like, I'm putting time and energy and I'm investing into our future. And, if people reach out to me, I'll talk to them for 30 minutes, talk to them for an hour. I mean, get with who you want to become, and then be their friend, give them whatever they need, do whatever you need to do to make that happen. Ron Adams, good friend of mine, he said, I need help with this. I said, sure, let's jump on a Zoom. He's like, that's not good enough. And he freaking flew to my house the same day. He said, hey, I was on a call with him on Zoom. He's like, I don't want to do it right now. I'm going to book a ticket. I'll see you in 3 hours.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then I'm over here scrambling to clean my fucking car because I'm not a very organized person, and my car is super messy all the time. And
filled with $3.50 shirts.
Yeah, $3. Yeah, and random fucking tools, like I got like a roofing nailer and a freaking chop saw back there, and garbage from eating out because I need to eat healthier,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so it's really just take action and find people that you basically want to become, or they're in a place that you want to be, right?
Our company really took off, and I was able to get off the brush when I started talking to people. And a lot of painters think they're alone. And, a lot of people think that they don't have anyone and they have to do it alone. And then, painting has a pretty high suicide rate, pretty high depression rate. It's not a good, but it doesn't have to be that way. And it's all about, connecting with people. I coach people for money in my own area to help them grow their company. I don't care. I don't care if they're my direct competitors. I'll help them out. I'm all about uplifting and growing the industry, making it more professional, and helping that professionalization along the way. And you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to go. I mean, you have a coach, right? You have a couple.
Yeah. For different aspects, right? Business, systems, even just personal training, like anything that I feel like I can improve in. And there's so many avenues I can improve in. I find someone that is where I want to be, and I pay them to speed up that process. There's people like you out there offering essentially free help, right? Like you're just from the kindness of your heart, because you want to improve the overall industry. You want to help people, right? So I know you help a lot of our clients in our group chat and whatnot with all our clients, but you are one of the most giving people that I know. And like, you don't hold back. Like, you just give information. And I think everything coming your way is due to how much you have provided, in the past for people. So,
I appreciate you saying that, but also it's just, people were willing to give time and energy and their time and their energy, and sometimes in some scenarios their money, into me. And so I will go ahead, and I'm happy to give back to the community. I'm not where, eventually that we will be a $20 million paint company. and eventually, Jason Phillips, they're a $10 million paying company, and eventually they'll be maybe a $20 or $30 million paying company. Maybe they're happy as a $10 million paying company, but these people feel good when they coach and when they teach, and they feel even better when those people go and they actually when they actually change and when they grow.
100%. 100%. And if people want to get in contact with you, they can do so how?
They can always go to on Facebook, just Spencer Heyward. Typically the first one, I'm in a nice suit. Owner of Swift Hand Painting. You can always find me on there. I can leave my phone number in the description as well for you.
Love it. And if you're one of our clients, you can just ping Spencer right in our group chat. But highly recommend you guys reach out to Spence. Absolute beauty. One of my really, really good friends, and an absolute crusher. And he's going to be hitting that. We're pushing for 4. We're going to push for 4 this year.
Well, maybe 3. We'll see. We're focusing on more than just the top line. Top line sounds fancy, and you can almost bet that Lucas is going to put $4 million in the title.
But it's already there.
Yeah, it's already there. But we're here. We're here, right? This year is the year of making a shit ton of money for us. And so that's our goal.
Profit.
Yep. All right, man.
Cool. Spencer, brother, appreciate you. Thank you everyone for listening. And if you want to touch base with Spencer, all his information is going to be in the description, either on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to this. But definitely reach out to Spence. Absolute gem, great person, and a beast.
See you later, man.